Hi everyone, welcome back to day 2 of Freshman Composition 1A. On Monday I gave you a handout called Writer's History Survey, and the reason for giving you that is so I can find out where you've been as a writer, okay, where you are as a writer, and how I can help you get to where you want to be as a writer. Also, it helps me help you individually, and I can help the class collectively. I'd like, though, to address one of the questions that most of you had the same response to. List 5 things you would like to change about your writing and or writing process. Julia responded as follows. I would like my writing to be more powerful and effective. I am never happy with my final papers. Okay? You should never be happy with your final papers, which is going to lead into the lecture today, the class lesson, which is on revision. One of the books that you'll be reading this semester is The Elements of Style. Your grandparents probably read this. The writing teacher, Strunk, says the following about good writing. Vigorous writing is concise. A sentence should contain no unnecessary words. A paragraph, no unnecessary sentences, for the same reason that a drawing should have no unnecessary lines, and a machine, no unnecessary parts. This requires not that the writer make all his sentences short, or that he avoid all detail and treat his subjects only in outline, but that every word tell. So one of the things that I'll keep going back to over and over in this class is show, don't tell. Another book that we'll be reading in this class, one of the most wonderful books in literature, every line tells, is The Great Gatsby by Scott Fitzgerald. Most of you have heard of this. A great line from this book says, no, Gatsby turned all right at the end. It is what preyed on Gatsby, what foul dust floated in the wake of his dreams, that temporarily closed out my interest in the abortive sorrows and the short-winded relations of men. Now, this is a freshman composition class. A lot of you are thinking to yourself, I'll never be able to write something that succinct, that concise, that lovely, that telling. Huh. Yes, you can. It didn't come easy to Fitzgerald. For example, this is a copy of his manuscript. Okay? This is how Fitzgerald would write. This was his writing process, much like the writing process that you're going to go through in this class. You have to learn how to cut and how to edit your writing. We'll never see what he wrote here because he revised it, he edited it. It's gone. Cut. Okay? Now, some of you might be asking yourself, how do I get to that point? Well, I have something that's going to help you. It's called Revision for Concision, or Stop Y'all Bleeding. I call it Stop Y'all Bleeding because when a lot of writers write, they do just that. They bleed, okay? Now, what I asked you to bring in as well as your history survey was something that you've written in the past, whether it was a letter in the 5th grade, an email to your boss, or a paper that you wrote for an English class last year. So what I want to take you through on the handout is the revision for concision. There's about 10 different steps that we're going to go through, but today I just want to focus on 2 so you can get an idea for how your writing is going to leap off the page, or as Ernest Hemingway said, not confuse movement for action. So the first thing that we're going to talk about are the to be or not to be verbs, okay? These are the easy, lazy verbs. Am, are, is, was, were, be, become, became. These words inevitably lead to weak syntax, sentence structure, and you confuse movement for action. For example, James is singing. No, James sings. Okay? The second part that we're going to look at in the revision for concision are prepositions. Okay? Sir, can you spare a penny? Prepositions are necessary, okay? Right? But we can only take them in small detail. All right? They're the pennies of the English world. Usual suspects: of, with, in, of. I think there's a lot of these, but those are the big ones. Now, what you need to do with your writing is after you've written something, you have to go back and start cutting it. It's like you're panning for gold. You're combing. You're getting rid of all the excess fat. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you a student paper, an example of how we're going to go through this with your own writing. Now, George has been kind enough to let me revise his work, so I'd like you to go through your own papers with me as we do this. Now, the first thing we're going to do is look for the to-be verbs, and eventually we'll go back and replace them with strong action verbs, okay? The key here is not to be passive, but to be active, to make your writing jump off the page. We're going to put boxes around all your to-be verbs, okay? Let's start here. Was, is, be, are, was, be. Okay, a lot here that we can cut. Weak verbs that we'll eventually cut and replace with action verbs. Next thing we're going to look for are the prepositions, and I want you to circle those, okay? Of, in. Okay, right here we can revise this, okay? Of, to, up, in, to. Now, I'm going to skip ahead here a little bit, okay? One of the other things I want you to look for is it, this, and that, okay? It could be God, God could be it. How dare you call God it? So let's get rid of it and replace it with the noun or the subject, which it is. We're going to put triangles around these, okay? It. Not bad. There is only one, okay? Now, let me explain to you or show you an example of why revision for concision is good. Oh, I cannot find my... Okay. Here I'm going to show you before and after writing, okay? The point I wish to make is that the employees working at this company are in need of a much better manager of their money, okay? Now, we would put a box around is, which leads to working, okay? Right? We would put a box around are, okay? We would circle at, of, and in. And to. Now let's see the revised version of that. Employees at this company need a better money manager. Okay? So again, the key here with writing is to make it succinct. Okay? To strip it down and say exactly what it is that you want to say. Let me show you one other example. Here we're going to cut about 11 words. After reviewing the results of your previous research and in light of the relevant information found within the context of the study, there is ample evidence for making important, significant changes. You get the point. Look at everything we can get rid of here, particularly the prepositions. In, of, within, of, to. Now look at it. At this point, we've stripped a lot of it, and we've been able to say in 25 words what it took 36 to originally say. Now, finally, one of the authors that we're going to study in this class is Ernest Hemingway. Ernest Hemingway, as you probably know, was known for stripping his language clean. At a time when Joyce and Faulkner were rambling stream of consciousness, Hemingway came along and said, say what you want to say. Now, what if I told you that we could edit Hemingway with the revision for concision? Let's take a look. So, your homework assignment for Monday is going to take one of Ernest Hemingway's paragraphs from one of his greatest short stories ever, A Clean, Well-Lighted Place, and with revision for concision, you're going to rewrite it, okay? The winner gets a prize, okay? I don't know what the prize is, but let's just go through it, okay? It was in was at to was it was. You get the point. Let's look at one more and then I'll let you do this. They sat together at a table, was near the door of the cafe, in the shadow of the leaves of the tree, in the wind. My goodness. We're going to teach the teacher. So, in closing, revision for concision. He wants your writing to be concise, clean, strict. So, in addition to this for Monday, what I want you to do is to read the Stephen King article on writing, okay? He's going to have 2 specific theses about what exactly good writing is, okay? I want you to come up with your own version of what good writing is, okay? I'd also like you to read the handout that I'm going to give you called Nausea by Peter Elbow, which will also walk you through the revision process. And take the papers that you did bring in today, strip them, and I want to see the original paper with the new paper and put all your changes in black bold. That'll be it for today. Thank you.